I'm here on Taxiway Alpha. This is not how we normally transit Taxiway Alpha, but when there is a giant screw in the plane tire, this is what you have to do. Stay tuned to watch this exciting episode of Old School Values, where we have a flat tire on the plane. For those of you who have been wondering how my flights have been going, they've been going really well. I've got about 20 hours of instruction in, and I'm getting ready for my first solo flight. And so I've got to pass a written test again for this particular flight school. I've got to do some more landings, so I'll be doing a bunch of landings practice today here at the airport. And then also I've got to go on a check ride with one of the founders of this flight school to make sure I'm ready for my solo. And then I'll be able to fly by myself. And another 20 hours of instruction or so on solo cross country, and I'll have my private pilot's license. I've been learning to fly a small airplane as a private pilot for the last month and a half, and it's been pretty amazing. And I'm doing it because I need to travel further than what I can do in a vehicle every weekend. I need to train missionaries and send them forth to the 30 countries where we are spreading the gospel right now. So I'm learning to fly, and it's been quite an adventure.
All right, beginning my turn. Beginning base.
I've been through about a week of ground school training, online stuff, and now I've completed 30 hours of flying and about 70 landings. And I'm getting ready to take my first solo flight in the next couple days. So it's been a lot of training. I'm good at landing now, and they're gonna set me free. Part of getting ready for solo flight is learning emergency procedures like what to do when the engine goes out on your aircraft. There's a lot of checks on the systems that you have to do, and it's a little bit like being an engineer as well as a pilot. You see, these aircraft in general aviation are small, and they're also old. A lot of the aircraft I'm flying are near 50 years old, and even though they have impeccable maintenance, things still happen. For instance, today our plane came out of some maintenance, and one of the magnetos on the run-up failed, and we had to take the plane back. If you listen, you'll hear the engine die when we do the magneto test. Today, I learned why we do a run-up. We had pre-flighted our aircraft, and everything was just fine. And then as soon as we went for the run-up and cranked the engine up, it started sputtering. So I'm gonna pre-flight another plane, and we're gonna hop in this one. Here you see us doing a pre-takeoff run-up to 1700 RPMs, and when we switch the magnetos, the engine shouldn't die, but it does. This pre-takeoff failure that we found in the engine is important because if it had happened in flight, it would have been a problem. And so I'm learning to do these kinds of checks. You have to always be paying attention to your aircraft and what the temperature and pressure gauges are telling you, because it will help you stay out of problems. Our flight school has impeccable maintenance, and our mechanics jumped on the aircraft that we found the issue with first thing. But it illustrates the importance of why you have to have safety first in general aviation. Checking your engines at run-up before you take off from the ground is the best place to find any issues. Okay, so what happened today is as soon as we were sitting there in the run-up, as you saw, we popped up to 1700 RPMs, turned off Mag 1, and it stopped firing. It started backfiring, did not run properly. We attempted to clear the mag, leaned it out, and did not work. Turns out there was a couple of two spark plugs that were not working or something. I don't know. The mechanics are out there on the flight line figuring it out now. And let's go out there and check it out. A significant amount of my training time has been designated to learning what to do if you have an engine out or a fire when you're flying your aircraft. And it's basically get it on the ground as quickly as possible, find a field or a road somewhere to land on if there's no airport. We've done so much of it, I feel like I'm completely confident that I can handle this airplane and fly it even if I lose the engine. Even though this school has been around for 20 years and has never had an accident and nobody's ever crashed and died, I don't want to be the first guy. And it's interesting, but I am watching people around me in aviation go through problems. Well, I've actually been training. The seaplane school next door has been flying their seaplane, and it's a beautiful aircraft, as you can see right here. And this is actually the last video known of this aircraft taxiing, because the next day it suffered a terrible malfunction. The flight instructor was on board with a student, and perhaps it was the student's fault, who knows. But on landing, this aircraft got flipped over upside down in the water. And it's pretty terrible because they're our next door neighbor there at the airport. And we were sorry to see it happen. According to the news story, they were over the lake nearby, and the airplane was flipped over, and both the instructor and the student pilot got out safely, praise God. But it had to be a terrifying experience, and it's a close to home reminder to me about how safe I need to be and how seriously I need to take the regulations when I'm flying. My flight instructor is Jacob. He's been flying for 5 years. He's excellent at what he does. He's taught me a lot, and we go through a lot of both in-person classroom training, ground instruction, and a lot of tough questions about how to fly the airplane and what the process is. I haven't spent a lot of time filming just out of the request of the flight school. They prefer that I spend my time learning rather than filming, and so most of the filming I have done has not been of me flying, although soon I will be filming more from the cockpit so you can see what goes on. Here I'm setting up my radio, headphones, and headset, my checklist and all the rest of it, plugging it in, getting ready for today's. I'm very confident in the air. I'm very confident with my landings. I'm very confident about how to fly the plane. And like I said, I've got about 30 hours and 70 landings in, and I feel very comfortable about what I'm doing. I'm definitely ready for my solo. After today's practice, I'll have a pre-solo check ride in the morning, and then if I pass it, I'll go for my first solo, where I'll be alone in the airplane by myself, landing at this runway that I've landed at so many times. My flight instructor's done an amazing job teaching me, and I feel like I'm totally ready. My whole goal is to be able to fly my entire family to runs and churches that have asked me to preach, to be able to hold training sessions like GS WarCon or the Sisterhood Conference in different cities around the country, as well as be able to fly the guys from our missionary organization wherever they may need to go in the Southeast U.S. Every weekend I'm driving round trips of 12 to 36 hours, and I hope to be able to go further, farther, faster, and more often for pretty much the same cost by using general aviation. Just as we landed our aircraft, which we were in a different plane today, the plane that we were usually in stopped on the runway, or taxiway in this case, and it's got a flat tire. Tell us what happened.
Well, Mr. IP Daniel looks like he ran over a nail.
And we've got the tow bar here. Explain what the tow bar does.
Tow bar just does what you can imagine. Helps us tow the plane. So.
It's not his fault though.
I guess not.
How exactly did we get a roofing nail in the runway?
You know, there were some roofers doing some roofing work, and that's what happens right there. You see it right down the top hole.
Oh, that. Dude.
All right, so we're a bunch of big small clean. No.
It actually looks like to me that some aircraft probably lost a screw and it got found in our front tire. Tell us what happened.
Get out here, man.
This is how a tire should look. This is how Daniel's tire looked. From a quote-unquote roofing nail way out.
Show the nail.
Where's the nail? Is there really a nail?
If you're gonna put me in the video, you gotta show the nail.
We gotta show the nail. It's not Daniel's fault.
See the nail?
Oh, bro, that's a screw, not a roofing nail.
All right, there's some.
Somebody lost a screw out of their airplane. That's what happened. All right, let's get it moving. And so we all worked together as a team to push the airplane way down the taxiway, away from the runway, back to the hangar. And that kind of shows how the general aviation community is. Everybody's always looking to help each other out, do the work, do whatever we can. We always want to make sure everybody else is safe. We don't want anybody to go through a bad situation. So Daniel went and sat on the back stabilizer so the pressure would come off the front tire, and we rolled the thing all the way back to the hangar. I do hope to build a network of Christian pilots who will help me transport missionaries around the Southeast United States. Pilots are always watching out for each other, and stay tuned for more of that exciting episode coming up. Well, from here at my flight school, I'm James Disciple Johnson saying God bless you. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned to watch my first solo coming up in the next video.